Tzfania in chapter 3 verse 9 states, "I'll transform the peoples to a purer language, that they will all call upon the name of God and serve Him with one purpose." In Hebrew, the word Torah has the same semantic origin as the word Hora'ah, which means instruction. The Torah, in addition to be a holy book that describes the history of the Jewish people, also serves as guidance on how to live and how to serve the Creator. According to the sacred Torah, there are only two paths for a human being to connect with and serve God: Jews and non-Jews. The Jews were given 613 mitzvot, and a Bnei Noach 7 mitzvot, with their details. So these rules were given by the Creator Himself to Moses on Mount Sinai, and only Hashem can define which paths we should follow to be united with Him. Imagine an Israeli Air Force pilot in the Six-Day War, and his commander orders him to attack an airport in Egypt. And he decided to disobey his commander and attacks an airport in Italy. What would be his punishment? Or imagine if in NASA's Apollo 11 space mission, in which billions of US dollars were invested and thousands of hours of work by scientists and several years of training for astronauts, Neil Armstrong is there. Instead of landing on the moon, he found it more interesting to visit Mars. That's insane, right? Likewise, it would be much more absurd if a human being decided to create rules or laws or means to connect to the Creator. The Rambam writes in his Mishneh Torah, "The general principle governing these matters is, Gentiles are not to be allowed to originate a new religion or create mitzvot for themselves based on their own decisions." And he continues, "If a Gentile creates a religious practice, a Jewish court should punish him and inform him that he is obligated to die. However, he is not to be executed." So the 7 Noahide Laws, in turn, are not a new religion, because they did not create new religious practices. Much less did they create new mitzvot. Even when a Bnei Noach fulfills a Jewish mitzvah, which he was not ordered to fulfill, such as eating a meal in Sukkah or keeping kashrut, he is not inventing a mitzvah or a new precept. He is simply fulfilling voluntarily the mitzvot that were given to the Jewish people on Mount Sinai. And this is why Rambam writes, "We should not prevent a Noahide, a Bnei Noach, who desires to perform one of the Torah's mitzvot in order to receive reward from doing so, provided he performs it as required." What does "as required" means? If a Bnei Noach decides, for example, to hear the shofar on Pesach, in this case he will be creating a new precept or a new religion. It says in the Talmud, in Sanhedrin, Rish Lakish says, a Gentile who observed Shabbat is liable to receive the death penalty. And Ravina says, Afilu Sheni Shabbat, which means even if he sets Monday as a day of rest or any other day of the week, it can't happen. We can say that a Bnei Noach is not a Jew, but follows Judaism, because the way of life of a Bnei Noach is the way in which the Jewish religion relates to all people. So for bureaucratic purposes, when it is necessary to fill out a form that questions the person's religion, in schools or hospitals, etc., one can fill in this item monotheistic or Bnei Noach or Bat Noach, because to fill in Jewish, if he or she is not, that's incorrect. It's not true.